From the moment you get up to the end of your day, the Human Rights Campaign has had an impact on the brands you love. From cereal to cell phones, soap to social media, tractors to tax preparation, the CEI touches every industry and sector.
Make it stop.
Hi, I'm Nat, and today I want to talk about the CEI Score and rating system, or Corporate Equality Index. I'm sure over the past few years you've noticed that big companies and corporations have started to push a lot of LGBTQ2SLIA+ stuff, especially during Pride Month, but sometimes even year-round. They'll change their little social media icons to the pride flag or the way uglier version, which is the Progress Pride flag as of late. Their CEOs might come out and give a little message. They'll put out special ads about how diverse and inclusive their offices and their whole company is. They'll even do products and stuff plastered in rainbows everywhere. And a lot of people are wondering why and where did this whole push come from? I mean, it's not organic because they're all doing it. And we just saw a very good example of this with the whole Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney controversy, where they partnered with a trans TikTok activist who is really a gay man pretending to be a girl and in the process making a mockery of women. And he's been getting a lot of partnerships and brand deals that total over $1 million. Another example is the Disney company, who has now decided to go to war with Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida. In the process, they've now lost a very special status that their whole corporation had within the state of Florida, all over a bill that was called the Parental Rights in Education Bill, but which activists for the LGBTQ alphabet community decided to call the Don't Say Gay bill. The bill honestly just said that little children shouldn't be taught about explicitly sexual things and that teachers shouldn't have one-on-one sexual conversations with their students. That should be left at home and should be taught to older kids. But the activists won out and they essentially forced the then CEO, Bob Chapek, to release an apology and go to war with Governor Ron DeSantis. Why is this all happening? I mean, who is pushing the levers so all of these companies all of a sudden start to really push the LGBTQIA+ stuff? I mean, even members of the same community are starting to feel kind of weirded out and icked out about it. Mainly the LGB part of the LGBTQIA+. And one of the main actors behind all of this is the Human Rights Campaign. Well, human rights sounds great, and who doesn't want to campaign for them? But in reality, the Human Rights Campaign is the biggest LGBTQ lobbying organization in the United States. They were founded in the 1980s when there was a real need for legislation and lobbying to pass things like same-sex marriage, and they achieved that. There was also a lot of discrimination still, and they made a big effort, and they were a big help in ending a lot of that in the United States. However, after all of those goals were achieved, they were kind of left with nothing to do. But by that time, they'd grown into this massive organization. And they couldn't just dissolve themselves, so they found a new target. So they decided their next aim should be to increase LGBTQIA+ stuff within corporations and businesses and government. This is where the Corporate Equality Index came in. It started in 2002 and has grown into this massive actual scoring and rating system that companies are judged on by other companies, suppliers, and more importantly, financial investors. Here's how political commentator Glenn Beck, and I don't always agree with him, but I do on this. Here's how he puts it.
This is why all these companies are going woke. If they get a bad score, then the woke investor funds start putting pressure on the boards. Woke activists are mobilized out in the streets. Advertising campaigns are shut down. And anyone that continues to do business with them will also be penalized. This is fascism. Let me give you this quote. Large businesses typically rely on other businesses for goods and services, and the business of the size included in the CEI typically have set standards and guidelines already embedded in their procurement. To ensure that suppliers act in a manner that adheres to a business's own standards, businesses must establish standards of conduct that set expectations for the behavior of their suppliers. Blackmail, blackmail.
And of course, we always see the same kind of players involved in all of these initiatives and very progressive, kind of dystopic ways of leading our world, especially in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. So who is behind all of this, or who is one of the key donors and players within the HRC? Well, let's look at their grants and who pays for those grants. I'm just going to scroll down to the important part. The HRC, Human Rights Campaign Foundation, is grateful to Open Society Foundations. Oh, who is that? Oh, once again, our friend George Soros. Fred P. Hochberg and Heyday Foundation, MetLife Foundation, and the Walt Disney Corporation for their support to our global programs. So the Disney Corporation isn't just involved in wanting to have a good score. They're completely within the ecosystem and are part of the ones that are pushing all of this because it was pushed on them for so long. They were one of the first companies that started to get all of these advocates and infiltrated and captured by this whole ideology. This CEI score is just a drop in the bucket in a huge ecosystem that involves a lot of unelected non-governmental organizations, as well as the biggest investment firms in the world and a lot of governments. You might have heard of a little thing called SEG scores and DEI and stakeholder capitalism. However, that's a story for another day. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.